Today, on a very special episode of Geekin Out,
we interrupt this lame attempt at an introduction to bring you the introduction.
The dank depths of the underworld lies the keys to the dark demon's cache. You smell a pungent aroma as you enter the Everdeath.
this kind of garbage is what most people's minds immediately jump to whenever Dungeons & Dragons or any other pen and paper RPG is mentioned. It's sad, really, because of all the things that make me geek out, this one has the most history.
When I was young and impressionable, I hung out with my teenage cousin Brian. He drove a bright yellow VW Beetle, wrote game software for the Commodore 64 and Amiga computer platforms for fun, and had a psychotic friend that claimed to have invented the game Theme Park.
But more importantly, he introduced me into the world of role-playing. I read Lord of the Rings in 5th grade, so I already had a background in high fantasy. But Brian promised me something even greater than Tolkien. Me. Thank you. No, but seriously, I'm talking about my imagination. Brian introduced me to a game called Paper Quest, which was a thinly veiled, highly simplified version of Dungeons & Dragons. That's right, you know you're a nerd when you play imitation D&D. Hey man, those rulebooks were expensive. Paper Quest started off as something we would do to pass the time whenever Brian would babysit, but I carried the torch of imagination, creating my own worlds and adventures, recruiting all my friends at school. I mean, look at all this stuff. Countless character sheets with made-up races. Apparently at one point I was playing as Saruman? Necklace of missiles. My dungeon mastering work contains such brilliant and enchanted lands such as Slums 1B, look out for the uncharted territory, the Swamp of Evil, and don't forget the Werewolves Den, serious business. Maps everywhere. Look at this awesome prose. It was a cold day at Renrock Castle, and Lance and John were prepared to battle on the great Renrock Plains. They were both great warriors. Lance was a knight, and John was a crossbow man. They were very good friends and are about to exit the castle. I'll spare you. I did eventually get the D&D 2nd edition books, as well as the Forgotten Realms campaign setting. Baldur's Gate? Yeah. I read all of it. I planned tons of ideas for my campaign. They may not have been very good, but I had a great time doing it. But to this day, I still have never played a game of Dungeons & Dragons. I'd love to. I've listened to the Penny Arcade D&D podcast, link in the doobly-doo, and it's too awesome for words. Maybe someday I'll play, but at this point I'm 28 years old. And finding people to play with isn't exactly easy. Yeah, I can play online, but there's just something about sitting around a table with a bunch of people and pretending you're someone else for a while. Someone awesome. At least that's what everyone who's actually played has told me. My name is Bud Newman, and I geek out over pen and paper RPGs.